Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thanks for meeting me this afternoon. Hopefully I'm going live here. I'll know here in a few seconds. I keep having difficulties with my computer here, but hey, thanks so much for meeting me on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah, we're live now. Okay, so again, I'm just so thrilled with this channel and how many people are subscribing every single day. It's absolutely tremendous. So thanks so much for joining, subscribing. Any feedback with the likes, if you can give me a like on this video, that also helps out this algorithm, gets it out. But today we're getting down to the finish line on this tiled walk-in shower. We're going to be putting the valve trim on one of my favorite shower systems. I really feel like if you're building a new shower, you really should have a couple of options, just a regular shower head and a hand sprayer. I know that's really in high demand, especially if you're converting a tub to a shower and you're using it for, if you have elderly parents or somebody who is trying to make it easier on themselves, I think a handheld sprayer makes a lot of sense. You can always buy a bench or something so that if they have trouble standing, and then they can use that handheld shower. It's always nice to have the option, and it's really difficult to do it later on. The systems that you kind of attach later on are usually a little bit cumbersome. There's a couple great ones out there, but they're up high, whereas you can custom make this where you want it with the handheld in the location that you desire. And I really think it's a good idea to just do that if you're doing a bathroom remodel. Just get the right materials to get the right deal. And that's why I like this Delta shower system that I have installed. This is a very reasonably priced thing. So we're going to get into the trimming out. Really kind of straightforward in a lot of ways, but it's all things that you have to plan ahead for to make it actually simple. So we'll go into my course and get over to how this goes about. But just remember, Gene, thank you. Now I know I'm live. Gene's in the chat, so thanks for joining me, Gene. The last time I was live, I went for 45 minutes talking to myself. So today, yeah, we're on to a good start here. So anyways, getting into my course here, let's go over to, well, first I want to say on my YouTube channel is if you want to view all the other associated parts of this course, you can always go to the playlists. Just click on playlists, and then underneath walk-in shower online course, view the full playlist, and you'll see all the other parts of this. So I'm basically going you through the entire course that I've developed, and it's all going to be here on YouTube for you to be able to watch. So if you can't afford to buy into the actual course, you can review all of the stuff that's in here. But you'll find that there's going to be a lot of reason to go ahead and buy the course, not only is to support my platform and support the amount of effort that I put into this, but also just that there's going to be a lot of links. It's going to keep you more collected. I always find that being here on YouTube can be very distracting. It's hard to stay on any one channel for more than 15 minutes without wanting to click over to your other favorite channels. So if you have a actual course that is specifically there for step-by-step tutorials like this, it's going to keep you more organized. So this is bathroom. All these links are in the description below, by the way. So click on them to be able to find it. But right now I have 3 courses available, a tub and shower, and I basically highlight all of the steps through the bathroom remodeling process, including the drywall, including installing a toilet vanity, everything that it takes to do the entire project. Whereas the custom tiled shower is just that. I'm just showing you removing the demo and starting from scratch with a custom tiled shower. But I also have a glass enclosure. If you're doing custom glass, I have a custom glass enclosure that will help you basically measure, order, and install your own custom glass. If you have ever gotten quotes for shower doors, you know how ridiculous they are. And then I kind of bundled these all together into one collection for 99 bucks. You'll be able to get all 3 of these. I think they really kind of go all together in there. And if you're a contractor, I really highly recommend you get into that. Once I'm going to be building out a curbless shower course here shortly after I get done with my current job. And I'll be adding it to that collection as well. So, take full advantage by getting into that full collection, because I'm going to be adding more and more features to it. But getting into my actual tiled walk-in shower course, let's go here as a student. So if you were a student and you bought all 3 of them, you would have all of them there for you to browse through and click into. So I really like teachable.com. I created this on this site. It was so much better than my old platform that I was a part of. because this just really kind of keeps you organized, and it's a curriculum fashion. So you kind of go step by step all the way through. You're not kind of lost looking through a whole bunch of videos trying to figure out where to go next or what to get into. So I really feel like this is laid out a lot better. So again, it's going through the demo process. So a lot of you have a fiberglass insert that's really dingy, really ugly looking right now, or maybe it's leaking. I see a lot of cracked shower pans or existing tiled showers that are leaking because something was done wrong. So, if you're in that situation, this is going to get you through the whole demo process, the framing aspect, which really goes into line with installing this shower valve. So making sure that you have framing set in the proper location is going to make the installation of all of the rough-in valves for the shower system a lot easier. And then you also want to think about blocking. Blocking for your shower doors, blocking for grab bars. If you're doing this for an elderly person, or you're thinking ahead and trying to get a walk-in shower where if you have any disabilities or just old age in general, you don't want to be stepping over that 19-inch tub. You want to walk in the shower. Think about grab bars. You want to have some blocking in there. So I highlight a lot of different things to think about in the framing section here. Then moving the drain. This is always a big gray area. It's always a fear of people. New contractors don't know what to expect. I don't really know what to expect in a lot of ways, but I do kind of guide you through some of the best, basically strategies of moving that drain. Now, obviously, I'm showing you this specific shower in this specific situation, but I keep trying to add more details of other situations and what you have to incur. But the big thing about moving a shower drain is, one, making sure it's 2-inch drain. You really want to have 2 inches all the way to your main waste stack. That primarily meets code. Could you adapt to 1.5 inches? Yes. Would it work? Most likely. But if you want to update this to be in code compliance, you want to make everything 2-inch. But I'll leave that up to you in your own location, because everywhere is different. There's some areas that you could do whatever you want, and some other areas, like where I'm at, it's very, very strict on what you do. But moving the drain is always a question area, so I kind of walk you through that. And in this shower system, this Delta Monitor 17 series shower system, I use the simplest way that I know, and that's using PEX B with the crimps. I think that's a very DIY friendly type of system, and the flexibility of the PEX just allows you to maneuver that very easily. So, go back in my other playlist and you can watch the actual installation of that. You'll see how really simple it really is. Waterproofing. In this specific shower, we did a weedy walk-in shower. So this is basically a waterproof foam board, and it has a pre-sloped pan. So this is really DIY friendly. It is on the pricey end of things, but I really think that if you're you're a beginner, this is a really kind of a foolproof type of system that's going to be really easy for you to install. Definitely check out the previous videos on that, and you'll see exactly what it takes to do that. Tiling, I always say tiling is going to be the fun part of the project. I give you a lot of tips about how to go about doing that. Primarily, a couple of things is just getting really good thin set that's going to last a long time in a bucket. It's definitely going to save you some from aggravation. If you've done tiling before and you've had all your thin set just harden up in a bucket, that's why so many people are wanting to do that pre-mix stuff. And you really can't use any pre-mix thin sets in a shower. Most of them just are not rated for that. There are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, it's really frowned on in the tiling industry to use any type of mastic or any pre-mix type of material for showers. It's just the water is going to get behind that towel eventually, and thin set is the best application. So I highlight a lot of the tips and strategies about going about doing this, and then including some of the thin sets that I highly recommend. And then in this particular shower, we did a tiled curb. The easiest way I know as well is just doing a solid surface top. You can find a lot of these marble sills at your local box stores, tile shops. But really, I find that to be the easiest way to go. Glass shelving we did in this shower. This was just kind of a simple accessory for adding additional shelves in your shower. I think that sometimes when you're in a smaller setting like this, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all that money on a niche and, and sometimes you just don't have the ability to do it. You don't want to be putting niches in the exterior wall. You want to have enough insulation behind it to address that. And in the frameless doors, our grouting, I'm sure I'm missing grouting here. Grouting is a really big part of the job. You spend all that time putting that tile together. You want to make sure that you're doing the grouting correctly. My favorite for white is epoxy, and then what's really becoming one of my favorite grouts all the way around is Spectralock 1. It's a premix. I don't even know what they call it. It's not necessarily urethane, and it's not epoxy. It's Laticrete's version of that, but really great stuff. Hopefully, Gene, I don't know if you've gotten into that yet. I'd love to hear how you're going along with your project. Yeah, I also just want to state, I don't want you to be afraid of epoxy either. That's kind of why it's my go-to. It's one of the types of the grouts that are going to probably be the longest lasting for the most part because of the epoxy, mixing of the A and B. It's just kind of impermeable, and that's what they use in like a lot of commercial kitchens. Frameless glass doors, I'd like to try to get into that today. I don't know if we're going to have time, but I'm going to show you a shower door system that I was really liked installing. It was called the Aston Belmore series shower door. I always like using the 3/8 inch frameless glass doors. 3/8 inch glass is just going to be a lot hardier. If you're doing this for elderly people, you want to have this thicker glass because you want it to be more durable and ability to everything about a 3/8 inch glass enclosure is just better made, in my opinion. Anything less than that, a lot of stuff you see at the box stores that are 5/16 or 1/4 inch glass, there isn't a whole lot to them, and they're kind of flimsy, and I think if you were to trip or fall and you run into one of those things, I don't know how well they would really hold up. Whereas the 3/8 inch glass, I mean, this is the stuff that you're walking into commercial storefronts with. So it's really durable stuff. So, all right. So getting into my curriculum here, let me make sure. Yeah, I am as a student here. So my curriculum, as you can see, goes step by step: demo, plumbing and framing, and then putting the waterproof shower system in. Whole section on tiling, the section on grouting. And now getting into the shower handheld shower port attachment. This is always a nervous time or a nervous section of the project, just because the unknowns. I mean, unfortunately, you really can't see behind your shower wall unless you have it open for some reason to be able to see these connection points. So it's really important to address these brass nipples that you're going to be inserting into for your hand port, and making sure that it's well sealed before you get in there. It's really tough that you can't really see what's behind there, whether it's leaking or not. So it's important to follow these steps. So, yeah. Okay, great, Gene. Yeah, so you got to use it. It was a lot less gritty than Mapei Flexicolor. Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad it worked out for you. All right, so let's go through the port installation here. Definitely follow these tips if you have a handheld port. This is definitely going to help you out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start putting our valve in. So I first usually like to get my port in first so that I can test everything, get everything to the right temperature before I mess around with the main valve. So let's just take out our plug here. Okay, so since we had that set back an inch on our framing, a 2-inch brass nipple should work, but most of these brass nipples come in 1/2-inch increments. So it'll go down to 1.5 inches and then 1/2-inch increments from there. So let's just test to see where this is going to fit. Yeah, it's going to work fine. So as long as you can see all the threads out of this, that's going to work. So let's prepare this. So this is the port. So each port is a little bit different, but a lot of times they really kind of insert the same way, and all the threads or the female adapters outside of the towel work. So get some Teflon tape. Go clockwise with it, 4 to 5 revolutions. And then we'll use some paste. So we want to just use a regular pipe sealant paste on top of this. Just kind of make that uniform all the way around. and that paste will help ensure a good leak-proof thing. But I always just put it on the port. You could do it either way, but it's going to be
basically
easier.
hand tighten it. This will all tighten itself once I get it in there.
Exactly.
So then put some Teflon tape around the fitting going into the wall. A little bit more paste.
So just make sure that Teflon tape is going clockwise so that when you thread it into it, it's not back threading the Teflon tape. So, so basically both of those will tighten kind of together as you get the hand tight. It's not a whole lot different than a shower arm, but yeah, just using a screwdriver. So go all the way up the hand tight and then bring that rotation all the way down. So that's really all there is to it. Like I said, it's not much more different than a shower arm, but using that paste. And I always, like in my bucket of plumbing tools, I always have more than just one of those brass nipples because I don't want to run out and have to get another one. I always have the 2-inch, 2.5-inch, and 3-inch. So a lot of this is planning ahead, so you want to kind of pay attention to what kind of tile you're installing. Most of you are probably only installing tile that's going to be 3/8 inch thick, but the thin set layer is sometimes hard to gauge depending on how flat your wall is and what kind of trowel you're using and just how things work out for you, because sometimes that tile work in the corners can be a lot further out than you want it to be. It really depends on just your own personal situation. So that's why sometimes you can't really tell whether you're going to need a 2-inch nipple or a 2.5-inch. But I would get all three of those just to have them on hand and then return them afterwards. But you really want to review. So I have in the link in this actual tutorial to go back and review the rough-in installation, because the core item here that I highlight is how far back how far back I actually install that shower port. So you don't have to exactly watch the video. You can go back in and just scroll through the photos to where my port is so that you have an indication of where to put that. So I have that somewhere down here. So the shower port, that's for the shower arm. Yeah, so basically you can see here I have this about an inch behind my rough-in framing. So the actual blocking was 1.5 inches behind my rough-in framing, so that gave us the ability to use a 2-inch brass nipple. So that was really probably about 1/2 inch sunken into the wall. So then you probably have about 3/8 of an inch that brass nipple is actually going to thread into. And then, but yeah, basically you're looking to have your extension of your brass nipple. So this is exactly right out of the Delta. You want it 1/2 inch, no more than 1/2 inch of the brass nipple sticking outside of the towel, and no less than 1/4 inch close to the wall. So you need to be kind of right there in the middle, around 3/8 of an inch. But a lot of times, as long as you can see all those threads coming out of there, you should be in good shape. So, so that's your exact dimensions. They say 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, basically having that brass nipple. But if you set that blocking for your shower port 1.5 inches to 2 inches behind your rough-in framing, then you'll be able to get a pipe that will fit. It's just the only time that you end up having issues is if you're too close to the surface of the tile, and then because I think the minimum size brass nipple is 1.5 inches or 1 inch. I think that's fitting. The fitting is 1 inch. So you wouldn't want to be sticking outside of your framing, because then you wouldn't be able to actually have enough thread space to be able to get it tight to the wall. So, but if you make sure that blocking is 1.5 inches behind, then you're probably, most likely a 2-inch or a 2.5-inch brass nipple is going to work for you. So yeah, this is what I'm showing. So 1.5 inches to 6 inches. So you have plenty of room. You can always be too far back. You just can't be too far close, or you're going to have a problem being able to adjust that. And really, if worst comes to worst and everything, just neither one works in that 1/2 inch increment, it should work because you have the variance of that when it coming outside the wall, the 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. So you should be able to use one of them to work. But if for some reason you didn't, then you can get a custom made brass nipple. You can go to your local hardware store and have them make you the size that you could do 1 3/4 if you needed to, or 2 1/4 or whatever. So But yeah, again, this is just evaluating, making sure that these threads are sticking out. So make sure you have a couple of those on there. Clockwise rotation, 4 to 5 revolutions of that Teflon tape. Adding a little pipe sealant to that will ensure a good bond. And then just hand tighten into the port, and then thread everything into the actual port in the wall to about hand tight, and then bring that around to that, the basically the direction that you want the port. So pretty simple, nothing really too bit to it, but I know that there's a lot of trepidation of installing this portion of the project because you just really can't. You could test it, but you can't really see it because it's behind that wall. So, all right. Okay, so Gene, you said my Moen port doesn't have any gasket that it came with. Should I use silicone or Cardi Fix? I would use silicone. Yeah, I would use some clear silicone. Make it easy on yourself so that you're not fighting, having to remove any of that stuff. Surprised the Moen wouldn't have that, but I'm not surprised. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not. I am surprised. It is that's kind of the way sometimes it is. And even this Delta one, it had just a plastic sleeve on it, so it's not exactly the best sealing mechanism. But if you noticed, I had one of those rubber sealed gaskets that I did with my waterproofing system on there, so that kind of seals the pipe. So that's kind of extra insurance, but yeah, I would definitely use some clear silicone. Just put that little bit on it. So you can see how this one has that little plastic gasket. It's really not the best. It's really not like I prefer the rubber ones. They are definitely they're definitely better because it's rubber, and that's the way you make a lot of connections. I mean, shark bite fittings are just basically rubber O-rings inside of that thing that's actually sealing it. So the rubber ones are better, but yeah, you can add a little bit of silicone to this one too. That really wouldn't be a bad idea ultimately. Ray all day, any advice on soldering? MAP gas, flux, and lead-free solder. I would definitely recommend that. I have a couple of things. I actually have a tutorial here on my YouTube channel about doing an entire where did I have that? And under my small bathroom remodel project, Ray, you can go into there, and I just did one on all copper installation of this exact shower faucet. So it's under shower faucet replacement. It's copper, so it's this exact model of the handheld and shower port system, or I should say, the diverter and the regular shower head. But I did it all in copper because it was actually in the instance of this particular bathroom underneath the small bathroom remodel. It was actually easier just to do copper. So I have a lot of great advice there, and I have a lot of links and stuff below in that one as well, Ray. If you want to check that out, I think that'll help you out a lot. So, okay, so going into diverter valve trim, pretty straightforward stuff. But, unfortunately, this is the one part of Delta that's a real kind of a pain in the neck. Some of these other diverter valves are a little bit easier to basically remove the actual housing on it. So I'll show you what I mean here when we get into it. This is only a really short video, and as you can tell, most of my videos in this course is directly to the point. I don't have a lot of intros. I don't have a lot of fluff. I don't find it valuable to waste anybody's time, including on my own YouTube channel. I mean, most of the things I'm trying to get to the point as quickly as possible. The only time I ramble on are these live streams. So, but hey, I'm here to hopefully engage and answer questions that people have. So I think live streams are a little bit more forgiving, but when it comes to actual videos and tutorials, let's just get straight to the point and show you the important details. Okay, so sometimes when these are recessed in here, they are tough to get out of there. So I just grab the side of this to remove. It is annoying with these things. And the main reason is because this diverter valve is right in plane with the actual valve. So it's set at the same depth. Okay, so there's a little brass port here, and there's a little indicator on this. So this slides into this fitting, and then we need to press that in. So this little knob right here goes into the bottom portion of this knob, and then this. So after you get that in there, there's little indicators on the side of this
that go into the side. Of the valve. And you take your locking nut again.
So you really only have to get these things hand tightened. It's not like you have to crank down on this to an insane extent. They actually do make a bonnet receiver that helps you actually thread this on. But if you're only doing one or two of these, it's not going to be worth purchasing.
And this guy just threads on here. Make sure your delta sign is straight.
Okay, so yeah, nothing to it there. But they actually do make a bonnet, a Delta bonnet nut tool. So if you're doing this stuff all the time, I'm actually going to purchase one of these things, but these things are not cheap. I think there's a very, 20 bucks. That's not the end of the world. Probably be worth it to me since I put a lot of these things in there. So they actually do make a tool. I wish they would just actually make it plastic, would come with it. It would be kind of nice for that aspect, because then you can, you can really get in there. And like I said, the main reason that is kind of in there like at that level is because basically I had one sheet of plywood or a blocking at the same location, as far as the depth of where my blocking was. And so it just ends up being recessed back that far. So it is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but rest assured you'll be able to get it. It just takes a little bit of trouble to get it to get that open. But you really only have to have it hand tight, and you'll be in good shape. So again, I just have the images of what we just went through in this so that you can just kind of review that very quickly, but really nothing to it. And again, if you're in the course, you can always leave me a comment, ask me a question, and I'm always dedicated to my members that follow in on this. So getting into the shower valve and shower head and temperature, these are all things. This is one of the main reasons that people love this Delta Monitor 17 series shower valve. Or at least why I've promoted it, and you'll see in here is basically you're able to adjust this so that you can always have the same temperature when you turn on the faucet, just because of the way that it has volume control and then the temperature setting. So two separate handles, and I like it because you're able to just like have that on the temperature you want, turn on the water, and you're always going to get what you want there. So I think it's really nice feature for sure.
Okay, so let's take our plug out of the shower port here. Okay, so I put my excussion plate on first, and then 4 to 5 revolutions on this.
So same thing as that handheld port.
Sealant. And you'll hand tighten this until probably around actually keep going. Yeah, so about 2 o'clock is where you get it to. Get the screwdriver in here and press it down to where you need it. All right, so
now I know everybody's, let me pause that for a second.
Valve.
I know everybody's hand tight is a little bit different. Obviously I have quite a bit of strength in my hands, and I can always get that all the way up to 2 o'clock. Some of you might only get to 9 o'clock. Some of you might only get to 10 o'clock. And if you get to that portion where it's only at like 10 o'clock, still put that screwdriver there, rotate it all the way down to where you need it. You don't want to be back, basically turning it back. You have to get it past hand tight. So again, I know that that's a kind of a vague answer saying hand tight, because everyone's going to have a different hand tight to a certain extent, but wherever you get, most of the time, I haven't heard anybody getting it, hand tight that is say 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. That doesn't usually happen too often. If it does, then you're really not putting a lot of pressure on it, and you still should be able to rotate that 180 degrees and bring that back down. So wherever your hand tight is, just grab it and bring it around to the location that you need it, and you'll be in good shape. But as long as you use that Teflon tape in the pipe sealant, you should be in good shape with making sure that that's leak free as well.
Okay,
So
take
before
this
you put the
plug
shower
out,
head on, you want
hold
to put
to
these
this.
valves together so that you can turn on the water and flush out the system.
And this will have a little catcher in there. You want to take that out of there. Okay, so then the way this valve works, comes in two pieces here. So this gets set into the valve.
Now each cartridge is going to be a little bit
This goes
different.
in,
There are two different
press that in.
cartridges that come for Delta. This is a 2-piece. They have other ones that are a single piece. So I don't know how you evaluate which one you
So once I
get
press
necessarily
it, this
because I've
clip
gotten
will come
both different types for this exact model.
Okay, so then you just insert this. You'll have these little V-shaped notches here that will go into the valve. So you just press that in, and you take your existing locking ring and just hand tighten it. That's all it needs is hand tightened.
Just like the bonnet cover for the diverter.
Goes over top of the valve body, chrome sleeve that slides on.
Before you do that, just make sure that if you have integral shutoff valves inside of there, make sure you thread them all the way out so you have the full amount of pressure. And then use a hand driver for this. You don't want to be using an actual drill. I sometimes use a drill, but you don't want to strip these out. That's the finished
Okay,
look.
so this is the Delta monitor. So what this is you have a handle that controls the volume. So you got to get this on. There's the off position. So you put your handle on. This is actually going to turn on the water. Okay, so you have one control that handles the water, and then this is what you need to stop the water temperature from being too hot. So the way you want to do this is, so let's turn on our water so that we can test this. So what you want is this indicator here and this handle aligned with this handle. And then when you turn it, it'll turn hotter. So as you can see right here, can you even see that up top?
Yeah, I can see the red.
Again,
Yeah.
okay. So this is the red. This is going to make it hotter. So if you wanted the maximum hot, you can just leave this out, and this would be completely hot. But you're going to want to adjust this so that it doesn't scald anybody. So this little stopper is what's going to stop. So if you had this in here where this indicator here was all the way up against there, that's the hottest you're going to be able to get it. So when I put this on here, see how it stops at that point? So at this point you want to test your water. So let's see how hot this is. (120, 121). So that's too hot, and it's actually pretty hot to the skin too. So we want to turn it down.
Now 120 is
it
most
down,
building code
We
requirements.
need to turn this clockwise. So we'll move this a couple pegs. Well, actually, we first got to turn this down. Okay, so we had this set where this indicator was all the way up against this indicator. So that was making it too hot. So now when we turn it clockwise a couple of pegs, that's going to eliminate this from going any hotter. So then we'll basically, oh shit. Let me get this back to the, yeah, there we go. Okay. So we'll go a couple pegs this way. Okay, now we're stopping a lower point here. Okay, we're below 100, well there's 120. We're still above 120.
I think it's more or less
Just goes
liability
one peg down.
above 120. But honestly, I like 123 degrees.
Slot down.
You just don't want to be 130 or you actually are going to get scalded.
There.
So if you have your hot water tank up pretty high, and in my own home,
Stop it, shitty.
I bring it up to about 133 degrees on my hot water tank.
There you go. So we're safe below 120, 117, 118, somewhere in between there, and it's not scalding to the touch. So
But if you're a
good.
contractor, just get it below 120 and then let them decide to do this later on
what
if they
the
want to
idea
make
of
it
this
higher.
is that you can just set this your temperature that you like and just leave it. So that's why this monitor is popular. But if you want it hotter, go all the way hotter. But you can usually just leave this the way it is and just turn on your volume control. we're gonna put our shower head on. This just make sure you have that rubber gasket in it. Typically with the rubber gasket, you don't need any Teflon tape. So that rubber gasket usually takes care of that.
Okay, so that's all there is to it. Yeah, so the other way you can actually make that valve turn to where you want it is just turn that hot water valve, the temperature control valve, up to the heat that you want, and then place that little insert to stop it where you want it to stop. That's kind of could be the easiest way as well. But it really depends on what your hot water tank is set at. If you like, if you're like me and you have it set at like 130, 133 degrees, and you're definitely going to want to make sure that you adjust that temperature, because 130 degrees is definitely going to be too hot. I just like it for cleaning and, obviously dishwasher, all that stuff. When you have your hot water tank at that level, it just cleans everything better. Obviously it's taking more energy to do that. So, keep that in mind as well if you ever do turn up your hot water tank. Now, some of these old hot water tanks, it's hard to gauge what you're getting because it's like low, medium, high vacation mode or whatever like that. But I have an electric hot water tank one. I have an app on my phone, and I can just make it to the exact degree that I want. So depends on what you have. But temperature control is really important for liability reasons. And then I always include the instructions here for you so that you can just review them yourselves in case you got yours wet or you lost yours or whatnot. I just have easy accessibility for you to be able to grab these instructions and double check, whether, because I'm pretty sure this is what most people have, but a lot of these cartridges are different. I think these are some of the newer ones that they're coming out with, and these are a lot easier to adjust the temperature. So maybe this tutorial isn't even relevant anymore but I've gotten both types of cartridges, and I think the newer ones are, I think they're eliminating the one I just installed. But rest assured, Delta, I've been using this for well over 15 years, at least the rough-in valves, and they've always been the same. They've had different cartridges, which is fine because you could always get those, for free from Delta. If you ever had a problem, you just call Delta, they'll send you out a new cartridge. I'm pretty sure they still have lifetime warranty. I mean, I've had that, years later, calling them up. Hey, I have a drip out of my faucet. It won't stop. It won't turn off the water. They'll send me out a new cartridge. I just replace it. Didn't cost me anything. So I'm pretty sure that's still the way they work. That's one of the core reasons I really liked using them. But yeah, so below I just have this kind of highlighted again, Teflon tape and pipe sealant is going to be your friend. Make sure you rotate that on clockwise. Use a little bit of that sealant, and then once you get the hand tight, bring that all the way around to where it's at the location, that 180 degree direction, so that it's at the location that you need it at. So always flush out your systems before you put any of these shower heads in. I kind of highlight through how to go about installing the cartridge so that if you're confused, you can just see a visual reference to it. And pretty easy for the most part. I really, again, I think the temperature gauge that is separate from the actual volume control is really nice, and is definitely a great feature for just having consistency. Turn that thing on and it's always at the right location. So that's it for that. Now the handheld slide rail, this is going to differ from system to system depending on what you purchased. Because all these items, and we'll get into that right after this, we're going to go into places that I like to purchase this stuff, show you some of the options. I tell you what, people are going to have to be more flexible these days when it comes to product selection, because things are just missing all the time. And if you want to get a project done, you can't always. I mean, it's starting to feel like you can't always get what you want. You kind of have to be willing to compromise. But there, you can buy all these different features of this that you can get the kind of hand sprayer that you want. If you stay with Chrome, you'll be able to, obviously there's a theme with the actual, they have a series, the Ashland series, the different types of collections that they have. But a lot of the handhelds, I mean, I don't know how much they really match the actual look all that much. I think they're just really pretty much different spray handle type of shower handles. So, all right. So getting into the handheld, it's just a pretty simple process. Just really the biggest, hardest part for you is probably drilling through the tile. I hate drilling through tile. I really don't like doing that on my brand new stuff, but some of these things are necessary. And I think I like the sliders better than just the hanging ports. The slider allows you to obviously adjust it. And, if you have somebody who needs to have a bench or a seat in the shower, it's nicer to have that slide bar so you can slide it down and they can grab onto that handheld very easily.
Okay, so you want to make sure you get your little rubber gasket. So there's usually two ends on these. One has a longer side to it. This one will go to your actual handheld, and this one will go to the valve. So you don't have to put any Teflon tape since you have the rubber gasket. Just snug that tight. Okay, so we're going to be putting our handheld on. So this slides over. This is going to hold our port. Just make sure that the receiver end is facing up because that's what's going to hold this into place. So just make sure that this is facing up so that when you can hold your handheld. So this guy just slips over top, and then it screws into the back.
It's not too much different than any type of accessory for your bathroom, like a towel bar.
The only advice I'd have on this handheld, as far as placement, is not to go right where my plumbing is. Now I remember with my PEX that it went behind the wall and then connected to here, but I would just stay out of this path just because typically this is where your piping is coming over attached to this. So I would hold it down below just to be safe. They just have these little clips that we're going to be using. I'm going to put my first clip in. Let's just take a look at what this looks like. So something like right there would be fine. So we're going to go right about here in this grout joint. I'll just use this little plug. I have to fill these with silicone before adhering these plates.
Okay, then they just basically connect like any other accessory with the Allen wrench. Makes it pretty easy to really install there.
Just make sure you just have a rubber gasket inside of here. No Teflon required really on this handheld either. Alright, so that's all there is to it.
Okay, so it's definitely, if you're getting to this portion of it, you're definitely going to feel pretty good about being at this moment, because now you really have a functional shower put together. And again, I really think bathroom remodeling is one of the most rewarding type of jobs, just because the before and after are just so dramatic, and everybody reacts really greatly to it because it is such a difference. So be sure to share your experiences. I need to get a Facebook page so that everybody can share their stuff a little bit easier that are on my YouTube channel, because I love to see the projects that people are working on. So I'll definitely plan on doing that here in the future. But yeah, I mean, it's a great, it's definitely a great type of project to do, because it's really rewarding and you get to use it every single day. So this really is the finish line of it. And, it's definitely something to be proud of, and something that probably you're going to get family members to ask you to do theirs as well, for sure. So, but yeah, below here, just kind of referencing kind of the common things, but this is where I was meaning is that you don't want to be fastening that where your piping is. So pay attention to where your piping is. Most of the time it is just going directly horizontal over to your valve, but depending on your own situation, you might be bringing it around a different angle. So take a picture of that or do something so that you know that by the time you go to put this handrail in, that you don't end up puncturing your new plumbing, so really important to do, and you really won't know it until you go to use the actual handheld and it's leaking. So but I have a link down in below on this in my course, I should say, of the diamond bits that I like to use. This one is definitely, ceramic all day long. You could do probably 100 and some holes with ceramic and probably wouldn't even make a difference on the efficiency of it. But if you're doing porcelain tile, these diamond plus bits are really awesome. I usually just use a 1/4 inch bit, and then just use the anchor plugs that the Delta come with, or other types of plugs. But I think the ones that do come with the Delta are fairly decent plugs to attach, and just use a little bit of silicone. Again, I really hate putting holes into my waterproofing and everything, but some of these accessories, grab bars, all that stuff, there's really nothing you can do. It needs to be fastened in some fashion, but if you can use silicone, that'll ensure that the water won't get behind that area. And then it all depends on what type of slide bar you purchase. Each one has a little bit of a different probably length and apparatus to actually attach it, but all pretty simple stuff, just like any type of a regular accessory. So where I wanted to show you was where to that I like to buy a lot of my stuff. So I like to buy it from build.com. I also do have an Amazon store, by the way, and I do have, and I'll show you that here in a minute. You can buy a lot of this stuff through Amazon as well. I don't know if the price is really that much different, honestly, on there. I think build.com is actually selling their products on Amazon, so it's kind of coming from the same place in a lot of ways. But where was I here on the? I guess that was just my shopping cart. So it's a la carte most of the time with these. There are some systems that you can, some of the models that you can buy that has everything in them, but a lot of them are a la carte. So you have to select each portion of it to put it in there. So 17 series monitors, Delta monitor 17 series. I don't know which one. Shower system. Yeah, okay, so there are some kits still available here. So yeah, this is the monitor. This is the exact model that I just installed. Man, that just already went up. $777. What's the chrome one? Okay, never mind. Okay, it's still the same price. I thought it just went up a whole ton. It's not that bad. It's special order, though, so you're not, 8 to 10 weeks on the chrome version of this. That stinks. They used to have like hundreds of these in stock. So this is the exact package that I purchased, the Lahara series, and as you can see, it's exactly the same thing. The only thing you want to pay attention to is if it includes the rough-in valve. So you're talking $575. It includes the rough-in valves. That's really not a bad price point at all. $777 for the brushed nickel. Oh, brilliant stainless. See, they're coming out with all these new names for some of these things. I don't really see how that's much different than brushed nickel. I guess it's brushed stainless in a sense. I don't know if it's worth $200 more. $809 for the brass, and then this used to be this still is the most expensive oil wrought bronze. All right, well, I guess this particular series you can't get anything less than $777 for it. That kind of stinks. So I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get that back into order. I'm guessing there's probably just one component out of this series that they don't have, and that's why it's not available. So you could still go to check out and get this all separately purchased. So really, it includes the rough-in valve, and this is going to go for any of them. It's basically a 3-function shower faucet. It actually works on both the 6-3 function and the 6 function. models, and basically the difference between the 3-function and the 4-6 function for the rough and valve is the actual cartridge itself. So the trim kit you buy will highlight whether it's a 3-function or 6-function. So the 3-function is what I just installed. So if you don't have like a third option, like a body spray, and you just had exactly the handheld and the shower head like I have, what it's going to do is turn one on each, so shower head or handheld, and then it'll do both. But if you had a third option and you wanted a rain shower head, it'll go to that as well. But I capped off the right side of it so that it just goes to handheld and shower head. The 6-function is going to be able to give you, so if you did have a rain shower head and you had a handheld and then you had a regular shower head, you're going to be able to multiply, you're going to be able to use each one differently. So you'll be able to have the rain shower head and the shower head, or rain shower head and the handheld, vice versa. So you're going to have different options and different selections, basically doing two at the same time. So it still all uses the same exact rough-in valve. It's just the actual diverter trim itself is what's going to be different. So it's basically the R1100, and I'll show you my Amazon store because I actually have this a little bit more dedicated to you, so you could purchase this a la carte. This is going to take you. You're going to have to go into build.com and find these things for the most part. But really first select your valve trim. I should start from not necessarily the rough-in valves, but the actual shower valve. So if you wanted this Lahara 17 series faucet right now in chrome, it's only $125. That's just for the trim. You still have to add the shower valve on it. So if you wanted the shower head, this exact same trim and shower head, you get the Lahara Monitor 17 series. It's just going to be a shower head only on this system. And you'll see here it says add shower valve. So add the shower valve, and you're going to get two options. You're going to get one that has integral shutoffs, and you're going to get one that doesn't. Obviously, the one that doesn't is cheaper. But if you don't have any shutoff valves to your actual shower, if they're not down below, if you don't have access to it, if you're not in a, you don't have basement access where you can shut off the shower itself, you're going to want to get the ones with the integral shutoffs, just so that in case anything went wrong with that cartridge, you can shut it off at the actual unit. So you have those choices to purchase through them. When you're installing PEX, you can make it even easier on yourself if you really wanted to, and purchase a rough-in valve that already has the PEX on it. Again, it costs a little bit more money. So let's go to a PEX valve. Yeah, so you have here. So this is at $65. So this would be the one for your shower head. It would have the ports already prepped for PEX here, and the PEX coming up for your shower head is what, or up to that diverter valve. They don't make the PEX adapter for the diverter trim. So, in my mind, it's probably not worth purchasing this extra for the extra $20, because really the fittings, the female fittings are not that difficult to install in the first place. So, I would just stick with the $125, add on the shower valve, and then you're good to go on that section. Now, as far as the, going back to my cart here, because I had these all selected here, diverter trim. So the 3-function diverter valve. So you want to get it in the same series or the same look. So this is going to be the 3-function. If you want it in chrome, there you go. Again, it's going to say add valve. You just add on the valve. They only have one that you can select. So it's going to be this 11,000 R11,000 valve that we installed. And there you go. You have that mechanism. Now, what they had a problem with is the actual handheld in the port. That's why they didn't have that whole kit put together. So you can just select any shower handheld port that you want. Now, obviously, you're going to want to match it in chrome. They have it. That's what I mean. A lot of these handhelds, doesn't really matter as far as. I think they all kind of look. I mean, they don't really go in with the collection. Just as long as you get the same finish, I think they all look pretty well. So this is actually a little bit cheaper, $130 for that, for the chrome. And you can just order that. There's nothing else to be added to it. It already includes the wall mount port as well. So when you get to basically have all those collections to yourself, you can actually cheapen it up a little bit. So $543 will get you this entire system together of what I basically installed in this tiled walk-in shower course. So you can select this stuff all a la carte, and make it make it pretty easy on it. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions about it, you can always reach out to me and I can help you out with that. But on my Amazon store, I do kind of have all these put together for you, and maybe they don't have the ports either. Let me double check where. I'm going to go to my actual store here. My page. Okay, so go into this. And if you guys could follow me on this really helps me as well. I'm doing live streams on Amazon as well now too. And I'm getting more into depth on the actual different tools and equipment, and even the shower faucet system. So I even have basically here it is right here. I basically this whole selection of all these items, all basically highlighted together here of what you would need. So this is again, you have to kind of make sure that they're going to be in stock. Everything seems to be flying off the shelves quickly here, so maybe some of this stuff might not work, but these are the main core items that you need: is the rough-in valve, diverter, the actual diverter with the volume control, and then diverter with the rough-in valve. So if you go to my Amazon store, the link's down and below in this description as well. Obviously helps me out as well. I don't know what this adds up to. I don't know if it's going to be the same price. It actually might be a little bit more on Amazon. So build.com is still probably going to be your best bet. $543. That doesn't include tax yet. Or no, it does add for PA anyways. So yeah, that's free shipping. So pretty awesome in my mind there. So, but just to give you another, you can click in the description of this video as well. I have my guide for curbless showers, and I also kind of highlight a bunch of different systems that I recommend as well within in this guide. And Delta is on my top of my list. I've always used it. Moen is another great system. The Growy shower system is great as well. And then one of my favorites is the Hans Growy iBox with shower system. It kind of has the diverter all incorporated into the same system, and I really like the way you can waterproof that system. But I have a whole bunch of links here as well as far as those different systems that you can check out. This is something that this Kohler shower head system, this is something you can add on to any shower system. So if you just had a regular shower head in a single unit, you can add this on, and this gives you a great way to add a handheld on it because it has a separate diverter at the bottom here that is really well made. So this is a great option for adding to an existing shower. On my YouTube channel, I do have that adding a handheld in my YouTube channel, but again, the prices kind of gets a little bit up there. But if you're going to get it, if you want a handheld on your existing shower and you're not going through the whole remodel process, this is a great option for you for sure. So but yeah, the guide is going to highlight a lot of different things. And Ray, all day, if you're still in here, I do have a lot of stuff in here that you can grab the guide, and gives you some the map gas, like Gene said, that definitely is going to help out heating up those fittings quicker and being able to get that solder to work. This is the flux that I like to use. You need some flux brushes. Basically have all the components of putting a lot of this stuff together. One other thing I was going to mention, and I don't even know if I have it up here anymore. Maybe I didn't. Oh, yeah. I guess this would be a little bit of incentive just to show you what I actually charged on this job. So this was last year. I probably added another 15% for all the inflationary reasons of things going up. But basically the plumbing entity of this with the waterproof shower system that I installed, I charged $3,200. Now again, I probably charged close to $3,500 for the same project today because of the products going up in price, but that included everything. So essentially I had about $2,000 worth of material for this section of the project that I highlighted. Basically the plumbing, including the rough-in valves and all the items basically, and then the waterproofing, including the D-tron on the outside of the floor. So basically $1,200 I had for labor. So it really only takes me 2 days to do that. Maybe some of you might take a little bit longer than that, but really doing the rough-in portion of this, of the shower system shouldn't really take you more than a few hours. And then same with if you're doing the weedy system, same type of deal. It's not going to take you all day to necessarily put that together. And maybe I shouldn't say that because I actually, have quite a bit of experience and it's easy for me, maybe not easy for others. But again, there's your incentive, $1,200 minimum. Probably a lot more now with all the demand that's going on. Everybody having a hard time finding people to work for them. So, if possible, if I plan, I would like to put blocking in the wall for grab bars. Yep, actually, absolutely, Josh. I think that's a great idea, and it doesn't really cost you anything at that moment, but it's really going to ensure you. And one thing as a contractor that you have to be wary of and think about, grab bars. Okay, so the grab bars that you purchase from Amazon or wherever, you get the Delta. Let me just look up a grab bar because they come with these pretty serious, if you didn't have blocking behind it, they have some pretty serious, let me just get the Delta one. That's the main one I always purchase is the Delta grab bar. Moen makes them too, so same difference. All right, so this is the one this is a 12-inch one. Yeah, so let me just shrink that down. I should probably add some of these things to my store as well. So this is just a standard 12-inch bar. I'd probably put these more like vertically, so when you walk into the shower, it's vertical, so you have something to grab onto to steady yourself, like if you're stepping over a curb or whatnot, or if you're at the entrance of the shower and you just need to do it. 12 inches isn't very, very wide. I'd usually use the 12 or 24-inch ones on the back wall, but they do have some pretty substantial toggle bolts that it comes with, but I really wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, with a tiled shower, it probably work out fine. If it's a fiberglass unit of any sort, I really wouldn't trust a toggle bolt on a fiberglass unit. I just don't think that there's going to be enough support from the actual fiberglass unit. So 250 pounds assist bars, 500-pound grab bars. What's the difference? Supports up to 250 pounds. Huh. Okay, well, I mean, that's not a heck of a lot, really, when you think about it. So every Delta grab bar is tested to support up to 500 pounds, and assist bars are tested to support up to 250 pounds. What the heck is it? What is an assist bar? I'm not sure if I know the difference between the two. I thought grab bars were grab bars. I don't know what the assist bar would be. Delta and assist bars, slip and falls effect, blah blah blah. Delta grabber assist bars. I don't know if there's a difference. I don't know what the difference is between the assist. Maybe somebody can help me out with that. I don't know the difference between assist and grab bar. I guess I'll have to look into that a little bit further because that's a heck of a difference. 250 to 500. That's a pretty wide range there. Anyways, blocking is imperative. It's definitely imperative, I think, in my mind. And as a contractor, I don't want the liability of one of these things falling out of the wall. I don't care whether Delta has that. I mean, are you really going to keep Delta liable for it? They're just going to blame the contractor that installed it. So that's going to come on to my insurance if something happens. And honestly, I don't even know if my insurance would cover a problem with a grab bar. If somebody slipped on that and it fell out of the wall and they hurt themselves, it's gonna be underneath a workmanship type of claim, and most insurance policies don't cover any of that stuff. So, but if you have blocking, I know it's not going to go anywhere. Everyone else goes anywhere. So, Josh, you bring up a great point. Definitely add blocking behind there for sure. I think that's really imperative. So, and it's a really simple process too to be able to do that. I don't know if I did it on this particular shower. I don't think I did. But, even if you went into my other, I don't think I did do it on this one actually. So let me just see. Yeah, I don't believe I did add any blocking for this one. I should have done that for that because it would have been a simple tutorial. But in my tub and shower one, I did add some blocking for accessories because I think when you remove all the plywood or all the drywall out of your existing bathroom, it's just better to just go ahead and install blocking for your accessories so that you're not relying on those anchors to hold your towel bars in. That's really annoying. I know a lot of customers get really, really angry about their towel bars falling out of the wall. So it's, if you just add some simple blocking to it. So let's go right into my tub and shower course here. I have that in here. under. Okay, so day 1 is basically demo. Day 2, I have basically installing the tub and drain assembly. So day 3 is framing, blocking, and overcoming the tub surround. So blocking is basically, yeah, really all I'm doing is using plywood. So right here. So all I'm doing is just using some of my scrap plywood I have left over and just putting a little, and just putting a little support there, just nailing that in. 3/4 inch plywood is all you need. It would make it that much more rock solid for sure. So, yeah, if you guys haven't been following along with my YouTube stories and stuff, I'm trying to post more of those these days. But just to show you what I've been working on, this, I don't want to X out of that. Where do we have? I want to just show you this job because it's so much work, and I'm sorry if any of you guys actually have a house like this that takes this amount of demo. Let me just show you. I haven't even edited any of this stuff yet, but we'll. Where do I have it? Yeah, let me just show you one of the highlights of this. It's just so much work to remove these mud bed walls here. Let me just pull this one up maybe. So I don't know if you guys have any of these old bathrooms with the old mud bed walls, but they're, let me turn down this volume too because it's probably really loud. Is that too loud? No, it shouldn't be. So this is just the old mud bed walls. So if you have anything like this, I'm sorry, because this is what it takes to remove this stuff. It's just, I mean, just little by little. And I basically got 3,900 pounds of waste out of here. So I just put it all in my pickup truck, essentially. But my goodness, it is such an enormous job. It's not even that big of a bathroom. It's only like 6 by 8 foot long. So it's not even that much. Your tutorial translates to non-remodel showers. When you're not sure about blocking, that probably works better for your tutorial. Okay, Josh. Yeah, I mean, adding a grab bar to an existing shower is a whole nother story, if that's what you mean. I'm not really, yeah, okay. But yeah, so you can see this metal lath in there. This stuff was so nasty to pull out. Just really brutal stuff. But they really made that stuff flat. This is a 1940s home. And I'm just using a framing nail, a framing hammer. And it's just little bit by little bit. And obviously make sure your water's turned off to your bathroom when you're doing this. You don't want to be hitting anything and causing a leak of some sort. But a lot of work to do this type of stuff. So be aware of that. That's what I kind of why I'm trying to build out this channel, giving you more awareness before you get into a project, so you know what you're getting into. Because sometimes, I mean, if you're not doing this stuff all the time, you just don't know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily take my transmission apart of my car without seeing a tutorial on how it's put back together these days. I mean, before we didn't have the luxury of being able to find that out, but YouTube is a great resource, and I want to be part of that whole era to help out and give you some guidance, or at least show you what's involved with this process. I know a lot of people that get into bathrooms like this and they're just already beaten down mentally by the time the demo is over, that they can't even move on to the actual finished project because they're just overwhelmed and stressed out by how long it took to do this. So I did this actually a day and a half of removing all of this stuff. Got all the walls out one day and then worked on the floor the next. And the floor is actually a full med bed as well. So, you know, in all intents and purposes, the floor, you could towel right over that. It's solid as hell. There's no reason to necessarily remove that unless you're moving plumbing or you want to double check your existing plumbing. But in this scenario, we were changing a tub to a walk-in shower. So I wanted all new plywood. And I also wanted to demonstrate what was involved by removing this stuff as well. So it's just a lot of that. I'll probably have a video out here where this is just sped through 300x, and it's going to look like it's no big deal. but this is really what it takes, and it's just I'm still pretty sore from it. So this was a pretty rough week when it came down to it. So I plan on putting this into a course as well, as far as taking out this cast iron tub, putting in a walk-in shower. And this one I made really simple because it's just they're going to be an acrylic base. But let me just show you how much stuff, you know, I mean, just how much. I mean, it's just an unbelievable amount of mess. I don't know if I have. Let me see if I have any. See, I haven't even really edited through all this yet, but just show you what it looked like before, so that you have an idea. It actually looks pretty cool, but it's just really outdated, and they wanted a walk-in shower. Okay, so we're in our new bathroom remodel that I'm about to renovate here. And I just want to go over a bunch of issues that I want you to think about if your bathroom looks like this, and what you might encounter, and some of the things as a contractor when I come in here I pay attention to, in order to evaluate how much time it's going to take me, and obviously how much it's going to cost the client to do this. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of things here, and I'll also show you some pictures of the actual process of this, so you can get a good gauge of what this takes to remodel this bathroom. So that was at my intro. So you'll see this on a future video when I get time to actually finish that off. But if you have a bathroom and you see these large caps, you know, this is about 1.5 inches outside of this plaster wall. If you see that, this is the type of work that you're going to be getting into. It's an enormous amount. You know, any bathroom I come into, like, people think that, or other clients that call me, they're like, I just have a small bathroom to replace. I want to get all new. I want to get rid of all these walls. I want to have all new drywall and pedestal sink or whatnot. And as soon as I see this, I just like, wow, this is an enormous amount of work, and it really, really is. So if your bathroom looks like that, just know that it's going to be quite a challenge. I mean, the biggest part of the project is just removing all of that, you know. So anyways, yeah, I mean, check out my course. Give me a like on this video. Kind of was a little bit more of a relaxed day here today. I still seem to talk for an hour, which is absolutely amazing. Doesn't even really feel like it. So, but be sure to reach out to me. Leave a comment on this video if you have any questions. Any feedback on the course, that if you guys ever purchased a course, because I'm really trying to make that the best that I can, and I'm just I'm really needing reviews from people, and hoping to try to just make it better, make this something that everyone really can accomplish your own goals and ability to do things. So all right, well, have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks so much, and subscribe and you'll find out when I have my next live stream. Thanks so much.